Hello and welcome back to Soul Search Sunday with Johnny Tiger. The date is August 2nd, 2020, and it is a long weekend here in Canada. In British Columbia, here we call it BC Day. It's to commemorate and honor the pioneers that founded this province. Although uh, most of the other provinces seem to call this by a different name, so it is not a universal holiday here in Canada, even though every province seems to pick this day, the first Monday in August, to take a day off. And it makes sense, the summer is progressing along, and usually this is a very hot time of the year, and people just need to take a load off their shoulder and sit down and relax and get a day off to spend with their family and children while the weather is good outside. Despite of what's going on in the world, all the craziness that's going on in the world this year, it is still very important to remember to appreciate what we have and to take time off to really relax. And yeah, I know. Some people saying, what do you mean by taking time off? A lot of us not even working uh, because of the pandemic, and we take every day off. Well, when I say take a day off, I don't mean just so you don't have to go to work. Because I know, myself included, a lot of people, even when you're at home, even when you're not going to work, you are doing things. You're home, you're working on the computer, you're playing on the computer, you're doing this and doing that, training, exercising, blah, blah, blah. When I say take a day off, I mean take a day off. Not do anything productive and just spend this day actually appreciating the things you have, the people you have around you, and spend time with each other. This week I read an article on cuddling that said that for human beings, cuddling has immense benefits to our health. Apparently, it releases all kind of good chemicals in our body and make us feel better, make us live longer, and make things more tolerable. So yeah, it is not a bad idea to take time off to not watch TV, not work on some project, and just cuddle with your beloved pet, your beloved wife, girlfriend, husband, boyfriend, uh, or with your children. Try it. I mean, may seem a bit awkward if you are not really the touchy-feely type, but you know, this is something that you can do for free that will enhance your health. So why not? Just a couple of days ago, I was having a conversation with my beautiful, intelligent, very sexy girlfriend, and yeah, um, we were talking about midlife crisis. And it is true that as I approach the 40 years on this earth, a lot of my friends are also approaching that. Many of my friends have passed their 40s, and a lot of them are in their 50s. So I have seen a lot of friends going through some sort of midlife crisis. I've seen a lot of clients go through midlife crisis. So what is this midlife crisis people speak of? What exactly is it? A lot of people nowadays make fun of it. A lot of people say, "What's the matter? You're going through midlife crisis? Why are you so emotional, all of a sudden?" But midlife crisis is very real, and you can know that you're going through it when you are in kind of a depressed state for no real good reason. You lay awake in the middle of the night everyone's sleeping, but you lay there, your body is tired, but your brain just wouldn't leave you alone. There's this little voice inside that telling you time is running out, time is running out, time is running out. This little voice is there to show you everything that you haven't done in your life, everything you wanted to do, everything you set out to do, but oh my goodness, you are almost 40, you're almost 45, you're almost 50. Some people get this way back in their 30s. You're almost 30. And look at you. Where have you gotten to? You don't have your own house. You don't have your own car. You don't have children. You don't have a girlfriend. You don't have this. You don't have that. Where have you gone wrong? And oh, by the way, you're almost 40, so you understand that you only have maybe another 20 good years left before old age. And how are you ever going to be able to do what you wanted to do? You are running out of time. And this voice will just keep going on and on and on and on in your head. No matter how successful other people think you are, even if you are already a father with three children and a wife and a house, and you're working to support your family, this little voice is telling you, you're just one of a million. Other people have children, other people have wives. How come you haven't made big money? How come you can't give them a better life? What good are you? You're almost 40, you're almost 50, and look at your kids. Your kids are not doing very well. What are you going to do after they grow up and they'll be on social assistance, they'll be on welfare? What are you going to do? That little voice is evil. I'm going to tell you, the little voice is really evil. And sorry about the dogs outside. The neighbor's dog can't really do anything about it. So my girlfriend asked me, "Have you gone through that yourself? How do you know what it feels like?" And that is what prompted today's topic, because I feel that I've talked a lot about how to make a meaningful life and how to do this and how to do that, and the little bits and pieces of life's lesson that I felt worthwhile passing on, but I haven't really give you guys a lot to go off of as far as my personal life go. One of my best friends once criticized me. He said, "We, as your friend, have a hard time knowing when you need us because you never seem to need anybody. You never let anyone know." And that is true. I tend to be the kind of person who I either solve the problem myself or I suffer through it and not let anyone know. So I think today is a good chance for me to give you a bit of an insight into my moments of weaknesses. So starting with my girlfriend's question, did I go through midlife crisis myself? Now a lot of people who know me will say, well, you probably won't. You probably didn't. Because look at you. You've done so much in your lifetime. You've done way more. You went above and beyond what other people do in your circumstance. You've been on movies, you've been on documentaries, you've been performing in front of thousands of people. You competed in martial art championship and won for your nation, for your country. You've done this and you've done that, and then you are independent. You have a loving relationship. What else could you want? Why would you have? Why would you feel? what other people feel. Ironically, ironically, a few years ago, I did suffer through uh, a bout of my version of midlife crisis as well. But mine was a little bit different. Rather than that little voice whispering in my head saying, you haven't done this, you haven't done that, my little evil voice was saying, keeping me awake at night, that what is the point of living for another 20, 40 years? What is the point? You've done everything. Everything you set out to do is done. What is there left? There's nothing left that I wanted to do. There's nothing left I wanted to try. So what was the point of continuing? Now, I don't want people to think that I was suicidal. We'll talk about suicide after this, but no, it wasn't a suicidal thought. It was a, if nothing else, it was a kind of resignation. It was more like, I don't know what I'm going to be really bored for the rest of my life because there's nothing left for me to do. I I don't know what I should look for. I have no more direction. I lost my compass. Uh, if I was to die tomorrow, well, that might not be so bad because I've done everything I was here to do. It was more along the line of that. It wasn't like, okay, I want to go end it right now. Wasn't like that. But that little voice was very insistent, and I really started to question that. As silly as it sounds, I started to question, maybe I moved too fast. Maybe I should have taken more time to stop and smell the roses. Maybe I should have taken more time to stop and enjoy myself. Maybe I should have taken more time to stop and mess around and fool around and make more friends and go to more parties. I mean, I I I I I was only like 35 years old, and here I was. Everything in my life I wanted to do was done. What maybe I did it wrong. Luckily, a series of events changed in my life, bringing new challenges, new horizons into my existence, and that voice quickly faded away because now I have more things that I want to do, more things I want out of life. Uh, Starting my current relationship was one of those big uh, new jumpstart. It's incredible how much it can change your perception of the world, perception of life when you start a new relationship, especially a serious one. That it suddenly make you think of other things that you want out of life, other places you want to go with this new person, and even old experiences. You want to repeat them because now you have a new partner to share it with. So it was very incredible how things just kind of snapped into place all on their own. Now let's look at other more common demons uh, other people encounter in their lifetime. We mentioned suicide, so let's start with that. Suicidal thoughts. As far as I can remember, for my entire life, I've only felt suicidal one time. I was about 18 years old, I guess. I was having, I was going through some really rough patch in my relationship at the time. I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to seem like I'm talking crap about my previous uh, partner. But suffice to say, it was a really, really rough patch, very difficult for me to deal with psychologically, especially at that age where uh, uh, my brain was made up of 25% intelligent, and the rest was all testosterone and pride and ego. um, it was really hard for me to deal with that relationship issue. And at the same time, I was working out of town uh, for a couple of weeks, and the nature of the work I was doing required me to pull double shift, sometimes multiple shift, because of some short-handed situation we had at work. We were short-staffed, and partly because of the relationship issue I was trying to deal with. So I threw myself headlong into working. I decided that if I worked hard enough, it could make me forget my relationship problem. So I signed up for every shift I could get my hand on. I went at almost 30, it was like 30, 34 hours without sleep at one point, pulling multiple shifts. And it was at the end of that 34 hours being awake and working that I found myself walking along the beach. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. I found myself walking along the beach, uh, walking on the pier, and suddenly I felt that if I were to dive off the pier and let myself sink to the bottom of the ocean, it would make things so much more simple. And oh God, I was so tired. I was so exhausted and I was so sad. And if I just take that one more step forward and climb over the railing and go into the ocean, no one was around, no one would see me, no one would rescue me. It could be over so easily, and I could finally get some rest. But then I remembered I was supposed to be working. I was supposed to be doing things that other people were counting on me to get done. If I wanted to kill myself, I should kill myself on my own time, not on company time. So I pulled myself together, went back to performing my duties, and then when it was finally finished, well, when I was finally done, I was so tired that totally forgot about the suicide. I just crawled into bed and slept. So you can say that having someone counting on me, having a purpose, saved me from doing something really foolish. Let me digress for a quick second and tell you about something similar happening to a good friend of mine who might even be looking at this video. Um, I remember this really good childhood friend of mine who, like me, had a lot of difficulties, family problems, and he lived on his own. A teenager, newly immigrated to Canada, living on his own without the support of his parents, without support of anybody, uh, in his apartment, which was, I believe, on the seventh floor, if I'm not mistaken. And he told me this uh, experience that really meant a lot to me. He said to me, he said, "You guys saved my life. You and the other friends saved my life." And I asked him, I said, "What do you mean? What do you mean we saved your life?" He said, "I was so sad about being left alone by my family being left here in Canada all on my own. No one cared about me. So I was standing on the balcony, and I thought that if I only just climb up over the railing and let go, then I wouldn't be here to bother anyone anymore. And according to him, he actually started to climb over the railing of his balcony when suddenly, uh, I don't know how many of you remember that chat program called ICQ. The ICQ notification on his computer went boop, boop, and he rushed back inside to check his messages, which was from either me or one of the other friends, and he started chatting on the computer and yeah, forgot about killing himself. So I'm glad that we were able to be of service at that very timely moment. Going back to myself, let's look at other common demons people have. Alcoholism. I went through alcoholism too when I was a teenager. I was like 16 years old when my family uh, issues, the abuse at home, and other problems. I won't go into right now because it's too lengthy. Suffice to say, I got to a point where I decided that the best course was to drink. And I drank to the point where I didn't even go to school anymore. I just woke up in the morning and started drinking and just sit around the apartment all day watching TV. The teachers were trying to get a hold of my father and my mom to let them know I wasn't going to school, but because my parents were never around, so they didn't know. They didn't know. I started drinking so much that I was going through maybe 30, 40 cans of beer every day. And then on top of that, I would drink tequila and whiskey, basically anything I could get my hands on. I kept that up for at least a couple of months, maybe 3 months, uh, until one day I woke up from a previous night of drinking, hungover, feeling like I was going to die, and was kind of glad of that. I was thinking maybe that this will be the end. But suddenly I realized that if I keep this up, I've wasted I've wasted uh, all my martial art training. I've wasted all these years of hard working to be on equal footing with my sighted peers. I worked so hard to uh, overcome my disability. How can I just throw all this away? And that morning, just like that, I stopped drinking. I didn't take another drop of alcohol. I quit cold turkey. I remember getting the shake, suffering the withdrawal. I remember laying in a bathtub with the water as hot as it could get, and I was getting chills all over my body, almost like suffering a fever. I shook and threw up and just lay in that bathtub, and I kept repeating to myself, as long as I can survive this, I can beat this alcoholism. I can beat this alcohol thing that's trying to kill me. Drug. I tried drug when I was a teenager. I fell in some bad company. I tried marijuana. I tried cocaine. Um, and it's something that I never had a problem with. I tried them, and I was surprised because the way that it was always told to me by uh, adults was the gangsters or bad boys that will get you to try this cocaine thing, and once you try it, you'll be hooked, and you won't be able to uh, uh, get rid of it. I tried it. I tried it not just one time. I tried it for a week. I tried it for a week, and it didn't do anything for me. I, it did something to me physically. It made me lay around, couldn't perform any task. It made me very unmotivated. Sometimes it made me really, really hyper and laughed a lot like a idiot. But it didn't do anything for me psychologically. I hated it. Uh, I tried it, and I remember that feeling of laying there. My body was so relaxed. I seemed to be just drifting off in the outer space. Uh, couldn't be bothered to worry about anything that was going wrong in my life. And this constant battle going on in my head, the the overachieving, the ego part of me was saying, "Look at you, look at you. You're just laying there. You're not being any good to anybody. If someone come into your room right now, they can cut you open, take your organ. You wouldn't even object to it. How could you let yourself be degraded to this point?" So after a week, I told my friend, "Nah, you guys help yourself. I don't like it. I'll stay alert and I'll keep you guys company, but I'm not going to indulge anymore. I don't find any enjoyment because whenever I do this, I just found my inner world at turmoil. My ego just kept combating with the other elements in my head. It's like a war going on in my head. I really didn't like that. One thing that through my career as a counselor, that I come across a lot is a seasonal blue. Not seasonal flu, but seasonal blue. That some people get really, 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 really depressed when at the end of the year. They start questioning if they wasted their entire year not doing anything productive, not making any changes, and so on and so on. They get really depressed. I didn't experience that personally until 2017, either 2017 or 2018, when a series of family events made that my mother had to come seek refuge with me here in Canada, and I had to pay for her expenses because she was totally broke. And after she left here, I was totally broke. And I remember at the end of that year, I got thrown into the worst bout of depression I ever felt in my life. I just woke up in the morning and I would lay in bed and I wouldn't have the energy to get up to do anything. I had things I needed to do, but I just felt so everything was futile. That no point. What's the point of me even going to work if I'm just going to be left totally broke and penniless when some family uh, drama would splash over into my life. What is the point of working so hard when other people is constantly working to undermine me? Uh, for that time, for that experience, I wrote a song called "The Seasonal Blue" that you guys can find on the album I released last year called "In Loveless Love." And you can find it on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you find music. Just search for "In Loveless Love" or just ask Siri or ask your Google device to play "The Seasonal Blue" by Johnny S.T. Tai. That's Johny S.T. and Tai, T-A-I, Johnny S.T. Tai, and you will find the song. That song was written to catalog or to record my experience during that dark period of my life. Um, Eventually, I was able to snap out of it by doing something totally new and unexpected. I started the best podcast in the world, the Johnny Tiger Experience podcast. Something that I've wanted to do for the last 10 years but never had time for, never wanted to learn how to do. But I knew that because of how bad my depression was, I had to do something very tiring, very new, and that require a lot of learning to take my mind off of my depression. So I started learning how to do the podcast, and right now we are in season 3. So again, I'm going to do a bit of a shameless self-promotion. If you like what I've been doing for this Music Monday, Tactical Tuesday, Wisdom Wednesday, Toys Thursday, Fitness Friday, Survival Saturday, and Soul Search Sunday, if you enjoy what I do here, then check out the Johnny Tiger Experience podcast on your podcast app. So in the end, what is the point of this very lengthy episode today? Well, maybe there's no point. Maybe I don't really have anything very zen or philosophical or life-changing to share with you. Maybe this is just a blind guy ranting about depression, about drug and alcohol, about those darker moments of our life, just so you guys know that I'm just as human as the rest of you. I had these moments as well. Maybe I just do this to promote my music and my podcast. But if there's anything you can take away from today's episode, I hope is that when you run into those dark moments, when you run into those dark times, when you feel that there's no point, that it's hopeless, there's no hope, it is important to have that special purpose or special someone that can pull you back from the brink to remind you that we are all here for our own reasons. And many times, our being here is to fulfill a purpose for someone else. Someone else thinks we are special, so we are special, so we have to be here. And if you don't have that special purpose or special someone, then maybe those dark times are here to give you that little nudge. Hey, it is time to go create something special. Thank you for checking out today's Soul Search Sunday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Music Monday. For now, have a nice long weekend to my Canadian followers. For the rest of you, have a good evening, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.